and I can't. Hi, Dr. Ruth Anderson here, Enlightened World Network. So excited to be here with you. There we go. Thank you, Teri, for recording that. We are here for Come to the Table. Now, Come to the Table is something that we do about once every 4 or 5 weeks or so. And it's our opportunity to come together with you and just share where we are spiritually. We'd love to hear from you as well. So if you would feel free to comment in the Facebook chat, and then we'll be able to share your comments as well. But this is, we rarely get to just sit around and just say, how are you doing? Right? What is the spiritual growth that you have been going through? Because we've all been so busy. We here at Enlightened World Network, at least the three of us, we kind of live out loud. We are living our spiritual growth for other people to watch, which is kind of an odd place to be in life. And I find that our other hosts do that as well. It's part of being live. And that's what differentiates Enlightened World Network from other platforms. We do go live. And the benefit of that is that you get to see to the minute what it is that we're experiencing spiritually. Whereas on other platforms, you get to see what somebody experienced 2 months ago or 6 months ago. So we're current, and I love that about what we do here at Enlightened World Network. I'm here with Teri Angel and Deb Goldberg, and they are such integral parts of Enlightened World Network. I wouldn't want to be doing this without them, honestly. So let's just sit back. Y'all did some sharing already this morning on Facebook, ladies, so we're all caught up with that. Great. So here in the States, today's Father's Day. Don't know that other countries are doing that today. Some people just see it as a Hallmark holiday, meaning that it's, society tells you to do this today. And, some folks do it and some folks don't. Other folks, there's a whole lot of guilt that goes along with it, or a lot of sorrow, depending on, if they're father has passed or wasn't the father that they wanted them to be. So, some of those Hallmark holidays like the Mother's Day and the Father's Day carry such emotional weight and such emotional baggage to them that sometimes it's just easier to go, you know what? I'm not playing. I'm going to choose to not be involved with this today. For you two, Deb and Teri, what is Father's Day like for you? Does it trigger any of that for you?
No, my dad has passed away. Oh gosh, in 2008, and we had a very interesting relationship. It was very tumultuous, and at the same time, it was loving. And there were, but I love my dad, and had Father's Day. Well, after he passed away, I would think about him every day for years and years and years, and then it kind of drifts away that I don't think about him every single day. But there were things unsaid that before he passed, things that I needed to talk with him about that I never did. And through my spiritual practice, God has given me opportunities to spend time with my dad, to do those healings. And at times, even when I really didn't want to, that there was younger parts of me that were still hurting from experiences. And the way that I experience this healing is in my meditation, God would take me to this private beach. And here was my dad waiting for me, and he was looking like he was in his 20s, and maybe something like he might look like when I was little that I don't remember aside from pictures. And God would take me up to the beach and say, you need to talk to your dad. Take your little self with you. And you need to talk to your dad about these experiences. And he said, I'm going to wait right here. He was waiting in the water. And so I just went and sat with my dad, and several different times, different meditations of like that, or my dad would just appear. And it was time for me to talk with him again. And it's been an ongoing process. And I thought that I had healed everything with him, but then another opportunity came to heal some more. And I think now we're pretty good, but who knows what pops up again in the future? You just don't know. But it really allowed me to learn how to love my dad fully when he's not here, even though on some level he is still here. He's part of me and he's always with me and he's one of my guides. So as a child, he used to whistle all the time. He had a certain whistle. And when he's calling me, I hear his whistle. And that's how he calls me in. And I know that he wants to talk with me. And so it's become a beautiful journey of forgiveness and healing and love that I was not able to do with him while he was here. And yet, on the other end of this, I look at God as my father, even though I know it's just energy. His energy, the way that I relate to him, is as mostly male, because I also see him as divine mother as well. So, but mostly it's as male. And so, actually, Father's Day for me is also about my relationship with God, my father.
Sweet. Teri, what about for you?
Yeah, I so agree with everything Deb just said. My dad was a huge influence in my life. And I think what I got from him more so than anything else is my stubbornness and my perseverance. He raised 13 kids and he had such a strong work ethic. And I think that is where mine comes from as well. If I'm working, I'm doing what I love, first of all. And so it doesn't even feel like work, but I plow through. It's like whatever is needed to get the job done, I do that. And I got that whole concept from him of you don't quit, you don't give up. And so later in his life, when he had to give up, physically, he had a lot of problems and he ended up having a stroke. And that was one of the hardest things for me to watch, was this man that was so vital and so strong to all of a sudden just not be able to do anymore. So when I think of him, I think of him in his vitality. I think of all of the times when I know he had to be tired. I know he had to be hurting, but there was that responsibility to those that he was caring for. And so he kept going. And that's how I remember my dad. So every Father's Day, that thought just pops in my head and I tell him Happy Father's Day in heaven and remember him, with that image. But also Father's Day for me, it is about my spiritual father, Father God, Divine Mother, that whole essence of the higher self and our highest being, our highest source. So I love Father's Day. And it's not just about the biological father. It's our Heavenly Father. It's anybody in our life, I think, anybody that has that influence on us and that helps us to shape ourselves into who we are. And there's been many of those in my lifetime. There's been many that really showed me a lot of different lessons and blessings. So I'm very grateful for this day that we have to honor the fathers. And it's a tough time for some. Like I'm thinking today of my niece and nephew who just lost their father yesterday. And so I'm sure this day is a very tender day for them. And there's others, that have that loss of the father. And this is the time that they're remembering them, maybe with a little tenderness in their heart. So just sending out some love to anyone in that situation as well.
Thanks for all that. My relationship with my father was very complicated. And I would say that hanging in there with it is probably one of the best accomplishments of my adult life.
Mm-hmm.
When he passed at 89, my sister and I were right there by his side. And that could not have happened had I not risen to the occasion time after time and tried to be who I needed to be to make that relationship work. And I'm really proud of that. And Teri, you took us through a 7-generation healing a couple weeks ago now.
Mhm.
And as you went down through the patriarch line, my father was boom right there. And it, tears of so good to be in that energy again, such appreciation for that. I really think that's one of the best things I've done in my life was to heal that relationship. So Father's Day, pretty special to me. And absolutely that whole, the spiritual aspect of the Heavenly Father provides such a background, such a backbone for me. And it means a great deal. So I'm glad that we get to celebrate this together today.
Me too. It's fascinating as I'm sitting here listening to the both of you. You're both talking my stories too. We're both talking my stories, and it's just amazing how you come together and understand that even though you might have had a different experience with a different person, the way that you felt and what you've done is so similar. Is so similar. And I always see everybody as aspects of myself, but sitting here, because this is spiritual talk too, is I'm sitting here and I'm watching other aspects of myself tell my same story. It's fascinating. It's beautiful.
That's cool. So let's talk about our spiritual growth. Before we came on, we were talking about the fact that we have not even known each other 1 year. I did interviews, almost, I did interviews with you both in July. And so we're almost at a year. But holy cow, the things that have happened in that year are really quite staggering. Really quite staggering. And here with, the racial unrest being at the forefront and living through COVID and everything else of the last 4 months, where are you guys with your spiritual growth? I know we get to see a lot of it being played out in front of us at EWN, but how are you doing when you look back the last 4 months? What all of you experienced growth-wise?
Where to start? Where to start? I would say for even the whole year, like it feels like 10 years of growth. For me, when I first met you, Ruth, and you asked to interview me for the summit, I was so excited, and I was so excited to get to know more of you and become friends. And as that started to unravel, and then here comes Teri, and right away I just felt this camaraderie, this like soul sister partnership that allowed me to blossom individually and then as a group, as how do I operate in a group situation. But for me, it was moving through so much fear of being myself on the camera and video. And so with you too, I'm always being brought into, I have to show up. And I have to show up and learning how to show up as me and not as somebody else. Because I think I've gone through times of like, well, what am I supposed to be like on camera or whatever, and just learning how to be myself and be okay with that and love myself as I am. So that was a huge process. And then you two are like wings to me, that I just keep rising on your wings with you. And you're like role models to me of how to do things that I want to do that I didn't know how to do. And because of this group and what you each bring to it, allow me to keep learning and rise higher. And when I fall and I'm having a bad moment, I know that the both of you are there. And then I get to meet all of these other beautiful people that have come through EWN as presenters and as people that are the public watching with us and going through our life with us. But I think the virus in the last, like, it's going on, it's 3 months, right? That has been awesome to learn how to come together again to keep bringing forth love together, and that we each do it in our own way. And so that's been a big appreciation for me of really accepting the diversity of each person, their unique style of how they do that, and moving away from ego consciousness within myself of saying it doesn't have to be done my way. It also gave me the ability to become more confident in who I am and what I like and what I don't like. And that's been a huge thing for me, because in the past, I would go along with the group because I would want to feel accepted. And rather than standing up and saying, I don't care for that, or I would like to do this a different way, or whatever. So it's given me actually the trust relationship between us and the love of allowing each other to grow in whatever way we need to, has allowed me to actually stand up more in who I am and really define that. So I am so grateful. And now I get another opportunity to go even higher with all of the racial unrest and look at what are biases within me that I can work on, because I always look at everything as an inside job, and I have been asking to help appreciate my whole being, appreciate and value my whole being, and therefore so I can appreciate and value everyone I see outside of me, not just random people that are easy to look that way upon. And so I believe that all of this is coming for me on a personal level, is so that I can really appreciate the diversity that lives within myself. And there's so many different aspects, a cast of characters inside of myself, just like everyone else. And I have it's about coming full circle of allowing me to be all of me, my full self, and not try to send off other parts of myself that I'm in the past may not have cared for.
Thanks. Teri, what about you? Growth in the last year.
Oh my gosh, so much growth. You know, I really started on my path about 35 years ago when I discovered meditation and spirit guides and everything that I started expanding out with. But in this last year, and it has been almost a year now, it feels like all of those experiences of those 35 years spiritually were all just kind of compressed into what has happened in this time together. It's like I can't believe it's only been a year, because it feels like it's been 100 years. You know, seriously, all the times that we've spent in planning and praying and meditation and, you know, just really going inward to spirit together. And I've collaborated with other people before on projects, but this doesn't even feel like a project. This is us coming together 3 in 1 and seeing each other as us. I see you as me. And I've learned that from the two of you. I've learned that we know what each other is thinking. We know what each other is going to say. We anticipate that because we really see who we are with each other. And it's expanded me out in this past year. In the past few months, I've had a lot of time to do some reflection. I've come back to some spiritual practices that I had let go and realized how important it is to have those in my life. So I've started doing that again. And I have had so much growth just in the last few months that's been magnificent. And it's brought me to a new place, to a higher place of understanding, really being able to go out of my ego and to stay in that place of just love, just pure unconditional love. And the biggest growth has come in acceptance. So losing the judgment, losing the criticism, that was one of the biggest things for me is, seeing how things are done. It's like, well, I wouldn't do it that way, but I've been allowing what happens and it's all perfect. It's all perfect. We don't have to have a control thing going on. We just allow and accept. And this time that we're in right now, this time of so much fear and upheaval and chaos, I've really been able to stay strong in who I am and stay strong in not getting caught up in the spin and the swirl of what's happening. And that's because of this, because of our strength that we have together and knowing that at any time I can reach out to either one of you or both of you and say, hey, I just need to run this by you. I just need to hear your voice. A lot of times that's all it takes. It's just hearing that voice on the other end of the line or seeing those words that are typed in that says, I love you. So for me, it's the best part of my life. It's the best time of my life, of the whole span of all these years. This is where I wouldn't want to be anywhere else other than right here with you two and with all of the people that I've encountered at Enlightened World Network, all of the ones that I met starting last July and August. And Deb, I remember that very first interview for the summit was you. And Ruth had asked me to come on to help out with the social media part and sharing it out and making sure things were going smoothly. And we just connected. The three of us knew in that moment. It was like God was just putting us together. And I know that's what happened. Just put us together so we could merge our energies and say, yeah, this is it. This is what's supposed to happen here at Enlightened World Network. And I am so grateful for the two of you. I love you both so dearly. And thank you. Thank you for helping me throughout this last year.
Well, it's really crazy. I mean, first of all, as I'm looking at you both here on the screen, I'm also seeing Archangel Michael, Raphael, and Divine Mother, because the triad is really not a triad. There's 6 of us here in the circle. And I remember when I heard from Archangel Michael, who orchestrated the entire Women's Summit, to connect in particular with you two. And I remember when he said to make Deb Goldberg the first video of the summit. It was like, okay, all right. Yeah, everything he suggested, I did. And I can't fathom going through the pandemic and everything else without you guys. I mean, I remember at Easter time, and things were feeling particularly dire, at least to me. And Archangel Michael said, do an entire week of silent meditations, the 3 of us. And I love that whenever I hear a guideline, a suggestion, you guys are both right on it. And you never question it. And you never say, I'm busy this week. I don't really want to do that. You guys both jump in with both feet. And because you have done that, it has exploded the work that we can do and the influence that we can have. And I can't thank you enough for the two of you listening to the guidance that you're receiving and acknowledging and respecting the guidance that each other are receiving. It's a beautiful thing. And I've never experienced anything like this in my life, but really to walk through that pandemic with you two and everything that was suggested to us, we did. We had come to dinner where we were getting folks together. We ran different shows. We had Keep Up the Faith. We did silent meditations. We brought everything to the table. And it made such an incredible difference in my life. And I heard from other people it made such an incredible difference in their lives. It's just beautiful. And thank you for being along for this ride.
You're welcome. I can't imagine it any other way. You can't. And then how lucky we are, we get to be together in 4 days to actually be physically together.
Yeah.
Which even more growth happens when we are together.
Right. I can't wait to see where that all takes us. Yeah, it's not usually restful when we're together. It's, working 23/7. But oh yeah, you can go take a nap. It's good. It's good. But I really am awed, AWED, by the fact that during the pandemic, really at almost any time, if somebody were to say to me, how are you? I could honestly say, I'm good. I'm really good, because this sixth being thing that we've got going here just puts so much in different perspective. And when you can see yourself as a spiritual being first, having a physical experience second, it really just kept everything even keel. And it was a time where we could see growth. We could see where we could really come to the table and help others, make a big difference for others, where so many other people were just shutting down. We stepped up. And I'm really proud of us for that.
I am too. I look at, we call ourselves triad, and it's like the anchors.
Yeah.
We're all that angle. Each one of those angles is an anchor. And what we've been able to do is anchor each other. And as one of us starts floating away off somewhere, we're able to pull each other back in and stay connected and anchored and stay in a place of peace. So we've been able to bring each other back to center again, with the help, of course, of spirit. And that in itself is, other people watching this, to have that center, first of all three of us have to be pretty grounded in our spirituality and our relationship and with God or angels, whatever anybody believes in. But I think that is the cornerstone of how we keep anchoring ourselves to go forward and bring forth what we were supposed to bring forth in this lifetime.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's that camaraderie, but it's also, I feel like family.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are family. We're not related biologically, but we are sisters, and we share as sisters do. We haven't had the sister fight yet, but but it's all been so smooth and so loving. And I know that I can share anything with the two of you. And we do. We share what's on our heart. We share the laughter and we share the burdens. And I love that.
Well, I'm looking to see who all's on with us. And I think not only of our growth, but I think of the growth of the people who have been joining us, whether they've been joining us as a viewer, participant, or as a host. And I'm getting goosebumps saying that. Diana's on with us now. Diana Beiersdorfer is online now. Sally De La Rosa's on, Charmy's on, Kim Siegel, Claire Louise. I just am so touched to have folks come to the shows and stay and watch the different shows. And I think somebody sent in hearts. And I think that they've all seen genuineness and vulnerability in every one of our hosts. None of our hosts come across as, I know it all. I've got my act completely together. We are all growing. And somehow Archangel Michael has made it be a thing that if you're involved with EWN, you are growing in one way, shape, or form. So, I think about Mira Rubin and her morning show, Diana's morning show. Teri, Lord knows, Teri is like the poster child of EWN. Every time you turn on EWN, there's Teri sharing something. But Deb, your growth in putting together divine relationship recovery, and now you're putting on courses, and Teri's been putting on courses. Diana's bringing new courses that I cannot wait to see. Diana, some of the shows some of the courses she's going to be doing is about finding your authentic voice. And her new show with Gerald Ann Heatherdale is Silent Mystics. And it's people that have been silenced, whether they silence themselves or somebody else silenced them, really coming to the table and bringing their messages to the world, some for the very first time. And it's beautiful to watch the growth that's happening with everybody. Robert Painley has, brought 2 different shows. Michelle Landers has brought 2 different shows. Sharon Rhea, what she's bringing to the table for us right now is absolutely beautiful. Teri, do you want to share about her participation in your show the other night?
Yes, she was on my Gratitude Happy Hour, which happens every Tuesday night. And it was a beautiful expression to be able to talk openly about what's going on right now in the world with racism and, how that affects everyone. But especially if you are a Black woman, I'm going to put it that way, if you're a Black woman and what that entails for them in this day and time. And I'm thinking of, those Black women who have children growing up in this environment and the fear that's there constantly as their kids are out in the world, no matter the age of those kids. Mm-hmm. So we had a beautiful talk on the show, and then we invited people into a private Zoom meeting to have further discussion. And Ruth, you were in part of that. You were in the meeting with, I think there were 6 people in there with us. And it was a beautiful, emotional time to express and to talk openly about, what's on our heart and how we're affected by the whole temperature of everything that's going on in the world right now. And I know that she was on last night with Diana and Gerald Ann, and then they had a meeting as well. So this is what's happening right now. It's just bringing everything out into the open, holding open communication about everything. And this is the world we live in right now. Everything is transparent. There's no more hiding. There's no more of things that are just going left undone or left unsaid and saying, oh, okay, that's just the way it is. We're in a world right now where we're not going to accept that. And I see things changing because of that, because we're beginning to use our voice and speak out. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad that this is what's happening.
And Diana was saying that last night with Sharon was very moving and powerful on their show last night. And we've got a couple of shows coming up where Sharon is going to be participating again. So she's providing a beautiful, safe space for us to be able to have these conversations. And let's see, Jesse says, Aw, so much kindness emanating from you all. That's sweet. And Sally said, for me, you all have made the world of difference within my life and so many others. Oh, thank you. That means a great deal. That's beautiful. I'm trying to remember the 2 shows that Sharon is coming up. Let me look that up while you guys, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know that she'll be with me and Teri on Wednesday for Divine Relationship Recovery. And so we're going to continue the conversation there. And then Saturday at on the, what is that, the 27th is when we will do a private group again on, and I believe that's at 10 o'clock in the morning, where people can join in on Zoom and have private discussion as a continuation from Wednesday's show.
Okay. And I'm looking up Diana's message here. Oh, okay. So Thursday, June 25th, 7 p.m. Eastern time on Forever After That with Diana Beiersdorfer. And then right after that is another Come to the Comfy Couch, as Sharon calls it. So that's a beautiful time just to be able to talk about things. So this is cool. Yes. You know, you can't have a platform like Enlightened World Network and not talk about what's current, right? You can't not talk about what's happening in the world. And so Sharon has given us a beautiful, safe space to have that conversation. And in the belief that through these conversations, we can grow and transform. Because if we're not doing these things to grow and transform, why are we doing them? Yeah.
Yeah. So important. So important. And we need all of your help to help us keep bringing forth all of this light that's coming through, all of the beautifulness of being able to be so transparent, like Teri said. And really what you're learning how to do is really love your whole beautiful self. And when you can love your whole beautiful self, it will shift the world, so that you can express your love in the way that it was meant to be, and your light. So you joining us in this is, it's just like the 3 of us have grown so much from being together. The more that we have arms linked with us, the more impact that we can have, in sharing love and making this world the place that we want it to be.
Right. And Diana said that Silent Mystics on the 6th of July is also going to be a time with Sharon. So I'm looking really forward to seeing those. I'm so proud of every single host for what they are bringing to the table. And, you know, Teri, you and Gerald Ann did a bit of a switch up with the Coffee and Conversations. And so Gerald Ann is spending her time focusing on Rising Up with Gerald Ann and Silent Mystics with Diana. And you have taken Coffee and Conversations, and now it's Morning Cup of Morning Cup of Joy.
Well, it's a cup of joe too, but it's cup of joy. And yes, and we're bringing people forward that have been with us from the very beginning of this community that developed during COVID. And they're all letting us see their beautiful self. Many of them have never been on Facebook Live before. So it's their first time being in front of the camera and just showing us some of their personality and some of what they're all about, and giving us that insight into them. And they're loving it. They're loving just being there. They get over the nervousness very quickly and just come on camera and just sit and chat. That's what we do in the morning. We sit and chat, and then we go into a meditation and prayer at the end of it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's neat. So, and Sharon Ria just joined us on Facebook. Good morning, Sharon. I think you probably heard us talking about you. I think that's why you popped on, felt us talking about you. But, you know, one of the things that I think is so exciting about having a show on Enlightened World Network, because it's all live, we expect growth, we expect change. And when you and Gerald Ann decided to, both plug off in your own different ways, it was like, yeah, that makes sense, because there is growth that's going on. And I fully expect to see some shows drop off and other ones evolve. It's like Michelle Landers had 6 weeks of her show that had to do with numerology. And then she said, I'm ready to do something else. So she stepped into something else. I expect to see change. I expect it to be fluid. And I hope that's not frustrating for viewers that are thinking, man, I wish I could see Michelle doing numerology, but now she's doing something else. But to really stay current means we need to change.
That's what it is. Life is about change. Just imagine if we stayed exactly the same this whole lifetime. That would be kind of boring. So change is the spice of life, as they say. And that's what's happening here at Enlightened World Network, where things are changing and moving and shifting. And like you said, Ruth, we're always hearing from the angels, all right, now do this, or let's try it this way. So I love it myself. I just go with the flow. And that's, we talked earlier about our spiritual growth. And that's one of the things I've noticed about my spiritual growth, especially in the last few months. It's just going with the flow, and not getting upset, not saying, but I don't want to do it that way. But just going with it and saying, okay, let me see where this can go. And I think using our perspective in that way, then we're more open to allow the bigger expansion that's happening. Let's see where it goes.
Well, the funny thing for me is when different people are getting the same message from Spirit at the same time. So within 1 week, we had Joan Hangarter of Joan of Angels come forward and say, hey, I was asked to do 30 days of meditation. I'm doing this. Teri shows up with, oh, I'm hearing 40 days of chanting. Rebecca Braxis shows up with, oh, I'm hearing 40 days of sound healing. It's like, okay, bring it on. Bring it on. But everybody got the message at the same time. It's so intriguing the way that happens.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a flow that you become part of, and I think that happened with Teri's master classes, because I've been wanting to do master classes for 5 years now, and I haven't done them, and so I was like, okay, I got in the flow of your master classes, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting told, yes, it's time to put these out now. It is amazing how, if you just allow that energy to go with it, it will take you where you need to go. And it is always changing, and that you're unfolding. We're unfolding individually, we're unfolding as EWN. And when you get in sync, it's just a beautiful thing.
Well, we're unfolding in public, which is a little scary sometimes. But we're doing it. We keep coming to the table, and I'm thinking of Diana and Sharon and Michelle and Gerald Ann and all of our hosts, and we allow ourselves the grace to unfold in public with arms enveloping us. And how lucky are we to have that? Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that encourages the folks that are watching us to unfold in public with us.
Well, I think it allows people to do that. If they're watching us do that, it gives them permission to say, oh, okay, I can do this too. I can be who I am at any moment. And as I change with the flow of energy, I can do that wherever that takes me.
Yeah. And Sharon said, it's brave to unfold in public. Yes, it is. And Claire said, and we get to unfold with you. Absolutely. And Kim, thanks for being here, Kim. Kim said, definitely. Yeah, it's cool. Well, and you all get to watch us learn technologically too. I mean, yesterday I was on a meditation a day with Niobe, and it was Niobe's first time of hosting, and she couldn't figure out how to turn it off. And so we just kept, okay, you see the little triangle up in the, okay, just hit that, and y'all got to watch it. And that's what happens. You all get to watch us growing and learning. You just have to sit back and laugh because it is such a learning.
It is. And that's something that I've also learned from the both of you, which I'm very grateful for, is it increased my abilities, its skills, technology wise. It's been all the way around of what I love about the two of you is you don't get frustrated when you're teaching. You're just like, okay, let's just do this. And for me, it's like, and you're just like, it's okay, we're going to show you how to do this. And then, and I have to learn by doing it. Like somebody needs to show me and I have to do it myself so that it stays in my brain. And so the two of you have been awesome in helping me break through those blocks of I can't do it, and watch myself do things now that I'm going, I would have never been able to do that a year ago, ever. Like that just was not part of my mind that I could do this.
I love that, Deb. I've always taught myself everything. I taught myself how to use a computer, and then all the technology that comes out, I'm like, oh, what's that? Let me learn it. So it's always, I love to learn. So it's always a learning process and see what's out there and see how we can use it to get our message out bigger, because that's what this is all about. We come live constantly because we have this big message. And the more we can have the help that's there, the technology that's there, we don't have to reinvent anything. We just tap into what's already in existence, learn it, and use it. So that's what I've always done. And figuring it out is part of the intrigue, I think. It's like, okay, I want to see how that works. I was never one that took something apart to try to put it back together. I don't do that. But if I can understand the steps of how it works, then it's not frustrating anymore. Well, until it doesn't work right, and then it gets really frustrating.
I want to share with you a couple of comments. Diana said, we all have our own ways of shining our lights and different people who will be drawn to those lights. It's all so cool the way the puzzle pieces all come into place. And Jessie said, making it public gives it the butterfly effect. And they are lovely ripples of love you're sending out. And yes, I've just been sitting thinking, I kind of want to do something like this too. So what you're doing is working. Yeah. Sharon says, Ruth and Teri, the masters are going with the flow. Yeah, that's very cool. But I'm really proud of me, and it's Teri's fault, because when we run into technological issues, I used to just like shut down. It was like, I'm stupid and I don't know how to do this and it's just overwhelming. Teri's like that, okay, let's figure it out. And I've gotten myself to the point that when I get a new technological question, I always go, cool, I get to learn how to do this now. And so that's your influence, Teri. So thank you for that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
And again, going back to the influence of my father, don't give up. And I love Sherry Meyer's new book, It's Too Late to Quit. And that's kind of like what we're in. We're doing this, we're in the middle of it, and it's too late to quit, girls. We just have to find that way to keep plugging and to make it work smoothly. And it does. I know the angels are always going before us and opening doors and putting everything out there for us to find the way to do that. So grateful. And we have a message from Sharon that it's World Unity Week that's happening this week. I know we're going to be a part of that as well, but she's giving a presentation later today. So she's going so she can prepare for that. And much love to you, Sharon.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing. But just quickly, I remember the first time that I realized how with it the archangels were, because there was something that I had heard, and I thought, well, how am I supposed to learn about that? And I literally heard the words, Look it up on Google. What do
Yeah.
you know about Google? Well, I know a lot about Google.
Yes.
It's amazing. We also want to talk about our next Sunday, our day of transformation. We don't want to forget about that.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead, Deb?
Okay. We're doing another day of transformation on the 28th, Sunday, and that starts at 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. And we will be going probably till about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night with different healing sessions. And I don't know how many healers do we have on for that?
I think we've got 16 sessions.
Okay. So we have, including a individual and collective silent healing also in there. And I believe Teri will be taking prayer requests as well. So it's a big day. Every half hour, there will be another healer on, and all different unique ways of how people are bringing love and healing and light to the world. And so you can tune in to any of those sessions. They'll also be replayed if you miss any of them, and they'll also be on Enlightened World Network's YouTube. So you can also follow them on there as well. But it is a amazing day of 12 hours, 13 hours of listening to beautiful ways to take in whatever you need to help you keep going and connecting to love within yourself.
Yeah, it's always a big day. Those days are huge. And this one is called, it's a day of transformation, stand in your divine authority. Now, what I love is that the titles of those are always given to us by the archangels. And then we get a month to figure out what it is we're talking about that day. But stand in your divine authority. Beautiful. We've got some great speakers on, some new folks to us. Teri, you want to talk about some of the people that you brought in for this time? Sean Perry.
I know Sean Perry is going to be there. Sean is so out there in his message and sharing. That's what he loves, is to share and to bring love and light into the world. And he does it in such a beautiful way. And I can't wait to watch what he's going to bring to us. He's all about art and expression and really opening up your own divine self. So that's going to be amazing. Andrea Adams Miller is going to be there. And she is part of the Keep Smiling project with, tell me I didn't just, Kim Roshan. Thank you. He's going to kill me. Kim Roshan, and they are part of also sharing love and light out into the world through lifting people up with the message of keep smiling. You know, whatever we do, we can share our smile. That's something that's free. It doesn't cost us anything to smile at somebody else and to lift their vibration. So I know those are two that's going to be with us. I don't have the list right in front of me.
Sharmi Devan, who's with us here on Facebook right now. She's going to be there with us. Kevin Morris from the UK. Neela Minocha, love her. Prince Fleet Easton from Palm Springs will be with us. Ben Decker and Harold Becker. I don't know them. I'm looking forward to meeting them. Julia Grief from Japan. Teri, what can you tell us about Ben Decker and Harold Becker?
Well, I can tell you about Harold Becker, but I don't know Ben. I think that's going to be Deb's. Harold started the National Love Day or World Love Day. Anyway, it's an expression of just giving out love. And he's gotten several countries and states involved in doing this and proclaiming it as something for us all to participate in, to just give of ourselves in a loving manner. And I know that we should do it every day, but this is a day when it really comes to the forefront. And I've met Harold. He's an amazing man. He lives here in Florida. And I can't wait to hear his message to us. because I know it's going to encourage us all to go into that place in ourselves and bring out more love into the world. And Deb?
Yeah, Benjamin Decker is a author, and he is also a social activist, a meditation teacher, energy worker. He's got a couple of books out, Practical Meditation for Beginners and Meditations on Christ. It's a 5-minute meditation practice. And so he's new with us, and so I'm really looking forward to his session and to see what he brings forth.
I'm really looking forward to the day. It's going to be beautiful. And then, of course, we end every single one of them with a ceremony of light, which is a trip to the ethereal healing pool. And we get to experience walking with our spiritual divinity right there, right then. And it's always a beautiful way to close the event. So our time is up, ladies. Thank you for coming to the table again and again and again. I love you both so much. And so much thanks to everybody who's on with us on Facebook and YouTube. And we're looking forward to what the future brings for us here at Enlightened World Network. So Deb, thank you. Teri, thank you. And we love you all. And we'll see you soon.
Love you.